We've got another transfer scout report for you in the lead up to Deadline Day Social, which is happening on Monday. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be all day. It's going to be absolute chaos. It's going to be brilliant. So go subscribe now so you don't miss it. But let's get straight into it. I'm here with Younes from 100% Chelsea and Andy Brassell. I'm running out of superlatives to describe.
I'm still here,
do it yourself?
essentially.
It's still here.
Yes.
It's still here.
Yes.
So first of all, we want to find out what is the top Chelsea team that you could put out. So we said to Younes, it's the Champions League final. You're there. You need to win that game to get into the Champions League next year and just to win the trophy. What is the team that you pick?
I hope we make it there. Firstly, Thibaut Courtois, you can't argue. Begovic can't match Courtois. One of the best goalkeepers in the world. Azpilicueta definitely gets his place. I would preferably play him right back, but for now, we'll go into that a bit more. Azpilicueta has to cover left back. John Terry, captain, leader, legend, has to be there. Offer all that experience to the team and leadership. Zuma, with his pace, definitely gets ahead of Cahill. We call him the Beast because he is a beast. Ivanovic, because we simply don't have any other alternative at the moment.
And we'll get onto that.
We will get onto that. But yeah, Ivanovic there. In defensive midfield, it's Mikel and Matic. Hiddink at the moment sees those two as the preferable duo. You can't really argue with that. As of late, they're doing well. So Mikel and Matic, definitely. More towards the forward line, you have Eden Hazard. No matter how bad he's been this season, he's still Eden Hazard. You have to put him in. Fabregas, we all know, can create magic because he wears the magic hat once he's with Diego Costa. And Willian has been superb for us, absolutely consistent on that right-hand side. He's done wonders, so he definitely gets his place. Diego Costa is our top striker. We'll have to talk about that as well. There's no other alternative really except for Costa. So that's the 11.
The interesting thing with this team is that Terry, Ivanovic, Mikel, Hazard, Costa, all of these players might not be there come the start of the next season. So they have been linked with a few players who actually you think, oh, well, they've got someone there. One of those is Teixeira. How would he fit in this team?
Well, there are two options for Teixeira. I hope it won't offend you if I use the red counter for clarity.
Go for it.
That doesn't mean he's going to Liverpool, does it?
No.
Right.
No. Well, I don't think he's going anywhere this transfer window. I think it'll be very hard to get a deal done at that sort of price because Shakhtar are incredibly rich, so they don't have to settle for less. The interesting thing is there are two possible positions for Alex Teixeira. One of those would be there, just behind the striker, and the other, interestingly, would be there instead of Eden Hazard. And of course, he is still Eden Hazard, but there's no ignoring his form this season. So Teixeira coming in there is maybe an option. The good thing about him is he can play anywhere across this sort of band. Willian's pretty much there. I don't think you can argue with that. But Teixeira's ability to roam, his ability to dribble, his pace, they're all important things. And of course, getting him in the position where he can score goals, which is the area where Hazard has really lacked. Now, far more likely than Teixeira, who, as we said, will be very difficult to move, even though I think he'd fit Chelsea really nicely. This is the one that's on the horizon. Now, a lot of people think he'll be back up to Diego Costa, but in fact, Pato, who's coming over, owned by Corinthians, but been on loan for Sao Paulo for the last couple of years, where he's played most of his football out there on the left-hand side. So he's the goal-scoring threat that Eden Hazard hasn't been. Now, I think there are a lot of question marks, as we discussed on 100% Chelsea, over whether he can fit in the Premier League, over whether his very best is past him already, certainly in terms of European football.
Because I guess the two big things with him is that he sort of fell off the face of the earth with AC Milan, with those injury problems. In a Serie A league that is a lot slower than the Premier League, he's then gone to Brazil. He's then gone to Brazil, where it's quite technical. It's not at the same pace that the Premier League is. So you're buying an injury-prone player who hasn't played at a really high tempo for years and years.
James Orcott.
So what is he going to bring?
His pace. I think that's the most simple thing, his pace. You've got to look at him stretching the game outside, about dropping inside to score goals. Of course, the thing that's always missed about Diego Costa, because people talk about him as a battering ram, he makes very intelligent runs too, so he can also create the space for Pato to come into.
So we've discussed these players at this end of the field. Yeah. This has been a bit of a problem, hasn't it?
Massive
Which
problem.
area would you like to improve on at the back?
I mean, defensively this season we've been all over the place. I would have to look at the centre-back pairing, but for now it's okay. We have Gary Cahill as a backup. That's fine. Ivanovic is the problem because
one of your star players last year, this year it has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah.
So much so that you want him out.
Well, his legs are catching up with him. I think it's just hit that time where he can't keep up. Every time he pounces forward, bring on Walcott or someone really fast, and that's it. This is just completely open. And Zuma has to come over to cover, leaves a massive hole, and we concede loads of goals. That is what's happened this year. What I would do is bring Azpilicueta over to right back and start considering a left back. Obviously, we do have Baba Rahman. He hasn't been played, hasn't been given that chance yet. We don't know what he can offer, but that is the area where we need to fix up.
Andy, how do you see this one sort of improving? Do you see Azpilicueta moving over to the right?
Yeah, I think that's the immediate fix. And Baba, of course, had one really great top flight season with Augsburg, but he hasn't really had the chance to express himself so far. A lot of people wondering if he was Jose Mourinho's signing in the first place. I think.
What's happening?
Well, I think you've got another option. I mean, you're looking for someone who long term could improve this defence. Now, you talked about improving the athleticism in the defence. I think there are two things you have to consider. One is that John Terry is close to reaching the end. I don't think there's any part of that, there's any way around that. But also, we want someone adaptable, a top-level player who can thrive in a number of positions. I think that you can actually, if you want, still keep Asby at right back, and instead we're going to replace it left back. Thank you very much. Okay. In fact, we're going to replace him with this man, Marquinhos from Paris Saint-Germain. Now, this guy is a centre-back, and he will be one of the best central defenders in the world. There's no doubt about that. Used a lot at right back last season for Paris Saint-Germain, where, believe it or not, in France they were describing him as the new Ivanovic. And back then, it was a compliment too.
Yeah.
So he's someone who's quick, who's got tactical rigour, who can cover in the centre, who can make the runs forward, who I think would link with Willian very nicely, very intelligent footballer. Of course, Zuma can even play outside at right back. So you've got that level of adaptability. You've got three players immediately who can play. We're leaving out Terry, obviously. Aspi, Zuma and Marquinhos, who can play in a number of positions across that defence. And I think that really helps Chelsea out.
And I guess the day that this guy goes away, you move him into the centre-back.
Exactly. I mean, Zuma and Marquinhos are a partnership that can keep you going for years.
So there you have it. That's our transfer scouting report of Chelsea. There's only a few days to go, but Deadline Day Social Live is coming to the Bull Street channel. Make sure you subscribe to the Bull Street channel so you don't miss out on that. Also, there's a Premier League shirt to be won. There's a video on the Bull Street channel called The Top 3 Players in the EPL. Subscribe to Bull Street, leave a comment in that video with your top 3 players in the Premier League right now, and you could win a Premier League shirt.
Well, you could be in with a shout of winning your choice of Premier League shirt.